Well, we're at the last Shabbat of the year, and so we take time, as we do every Shabbat, to reflect and to pause and to look back and to try to figure out how we can do better. The year 2022 was a really tough one. There's a big difference between the secular New Year and the Jewish New Year. In the secular New Year, it's a time of revelry and celebration. The Jewish New Year is reverie, reverence, and also revelry, like in the army when you wake up in the morning. It's a time to wake up from our slumber. In the secular New Year, they have a noisemaker. Everybody's making a lot of noise, just for the heck of it. But not the Jewish New Year. The Jewish New Year, we make a loud sound also, but it's the sound of the shofar. It's got purpose. It calls us to conscience. It calls us to do battle against those things that have dragged us down in the past year and motivates us to do everything we can to make this year better. Interesting thing about the shofar, it doesn't work unless it's pure and hollow and uncluttered. My friends, our minds are cluttered with nonsense, especially nowadays with all this nonsense in the social media. Our minds are cluttered, not only with nonsense, but with dangerous nonsense, with hate, with forces that drag us down, and with information that is just so bizarre and so far from the truth. We need, my friends, to purify our souls and our minds so that we can allow the purity of our spirit and our heritage to come through. We were born pure. We were not born to be dragged down into the depths. We were born for greatness. And Joseph tells us how to achieve it. He could have been bitter, but all the bad things that happened to him made him better. The Jewish people could be excused for being filled with hate. But instead, we took all of the persecution, all the trials and tribulations. It didn't make us bitter, it made us better. It didn't bring out the beast in us. As my dad used to say, it brought out the best in us. Let us bring out the best in ourselves and others so that we can set an example of purity and goodness and mitzvot tzedek. Yes, my friends, truth and righteousness. Joseph shows us how to do it. He overcame difficulties and he transcended them. He wasn't captured by them. Yosef means to increase. He increased, he improved every day. We can improve this next year if we set our minds to doing better, not just the same old thing, but doing better. That's what this is all about. Joseph transformed his family from sibling rivalry to sibling revelry. How many of us are at odds with friends, with family, over nonsense? The most ridiculous nonsense, political nonsense, or religious nonsense. You have a different view of God than I do? You don't go to this synagogue, you go to that one? Oh my gosh. You mean you say this prayer instead of that prayer? Is there anything so insane about a very tiny minority of people that survived all of this, fighting with each other over trivialities? Joseph had good reason to be upset. He was magnanimous. Petty people seek revenge. Powerful, strong people forgive. Does that mean, my friends, that we should all go and agree on everything? And we should say to our friends and relatives, yeah, I see it your way, I agree with you. Of course not. Our goal should not be uniformity, it should be unity. Differences of opinion is what makes life interesting. How sad it is when the admonition is, don't talk politics. Oh no, don't talk religion. You might disagree. You might get somebody upset. My friends, if one person thinks another and you think some other way, and you decide, well, I'm never talking about that, or if there's an issue that's separating a family, we can't talk about that, it's always going to stay an issue. It's always going to divide you. It's always going to cause conflict. The goal is not to avoid it, it's to talk about it respectfully, rationally, intelligently. If we have a difference of opinion on religion, about who is Jesus, oh no! Jesus was Jewish. If he lived, we brought him to this world. He practiced our religion. Are you saying that we have no right to tell Christians what we think about one of our own? And that we are forever condemned to allow them to commit identity theft posthumously against one of our greatest leaders and turn him into an anti-Semite who said, you Jews are children of the devil, and that we bear responsibility for his death, which is unlikely as Eichmann is trying to spare the life of a Jewish person and the Jewish mob yelling out, may his blood be upon us and our children. Could this really have ever happened? And we're still being persecuted with rising anti-Semitism throughout the country based on a lie that we don't even have the self-respect to correct. My friends, let me tell you something that was really tragic. It was around the year 50, 60 CE. The Jewish people were about to experience the greatest calamity they've ever faced in their history, and they went through some bad things. That was the Roman destruction of the temple. According to Josephus, the murder of probably 500,000 people of a population that wasn't much more than maybe 3 times that. The Romans were gathering their forces. Their engines of war were surrounding the city. And what did the Jews do in the face of the worst threat they've ever faced? Sinat chinam. Gratuitous hatred. They didn't fight Rome, they fought each other. Arguing over who was the right Messiah, arguing over what was the right approach to deal with them. Should they capitulate? Should they fight back? Fighting against each other. By the Romans, time the Romans came in, it was slim pickings. Sinat chinam is blamed by the rabbis for the destruction of the Jewish people and 2,000 years of exile. Sinat is hatred. It brings us to the depths. And the opposite of that is not Sinat, but Sinai, Mount Sinai, when the Jews joined together as one to receive moral instructions and to see themselves as one group with a purpose to bring about a better world. And so let us together seek to make 2023 a time not of Sinat, but of Sinai. Let us join with other Jews. Let us join with our fellow Christians and Muslims. Let us embark on the greatest challenge, the most important battle that we can. And that is the battle to summon the human species to join together as one under the auspices of a cosmic religion which sees all of us as one cosmos and one people, dedicated to protecting this sacred planet from ourselves, dedicated to try to make this world a better place. And I will share with you a quote from the person that I started out with, Einstein, who said this: a human being is part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. We experience ourselves, our thoughts and feelings, as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us. restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from the prison by widening our circle of compassion, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. The true value of a human being is determined by the measure and the sense in which they've obtained liberation from the self. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if humanity is to survive. And I'll just share this with you. I've received many calls and emails, and pretty much I went into seclusion. I wasn't really looking for visitation, but I do appreciate it. But I did notice something. There was someone that I had been talking to for a while who went through some really horrible things, really tough things, that made this person feel really down and sought solace from me. I wasn't really able to do a whole lot. I tried. But when that person reached out to me and saw I wasn't doing well and said, how can I help you? How can I be a benefit to you? What can I do for you? The mood lifted. That person suddenly felt alive and felt elated to be able to be of service to other people, to know that our lives have meaning, to know that we can bring a smile to someone's face, to know that we can make this world a better place. That's what I wish for all of us as a goal of 2023. Let us do so as individuals, as a congregation, and as a Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom.